Hello again, friends. We are going to read some Persian poetry for you, my mother in Farsi and myself in English. Today we are talking about Baba Taher Oryán. I have a short biography here. I will read it for you so that you know who he was. Baba Taher Oryán. Baba Taher Oryán is a solitary figure in Iran's Literary Hall of Fame. The simplicity and sincerity of his expressions, the genuineness of his thoughts and emotions, his extreme subjectivism, the easy and melodious flow of his words, his simple and uniform meter, and his captivating style have made his quatrains singularly immortal in the hearts of his countrymen. In the sweetness and subtlety of his verses, mysticism, philosophy, and grave playfulness blend into the music of his lines, as the aroma of the rosebuds blend with the zephyr that bears it. Full of grace and sagacious sayings, and saturated with resemblances which only poetic insight can conceive, his poetry embodies piety, shrewd philosophy, and emotions ranging through the entire gamut of feelings. It sings of joy and sorrow, unity and diversity, distress and distraction, love and loveliness, aloneness and self-insignificance, poverty and spiritual longing, infidelity and friendship, humanity and divine union, good and evil. Touched by the rugged personality of the lofty mountains of western Iran and by the delicate and sensitive music of his own soul, he has made his quatrains a blend of courage with apathy, of frankness with melancholy, a bitter and sweet expression of the symphony of fate and fact, of freedom and destiny. Only one who is familiar with the euphonious beauty of the lurid dialect in which this Robert Burns of Iran sang his song of life and love can truly feel his passions and devotions, detached from sophistications and pretensions of polite society. Oryán swept his strings with the natural tunes of simpler elements, with fields, flowers, and nightingales, with wind and sand, with mountains and with gushing waters. It is this attachment to things both natural and spiritual that blends his human love with lofty mysticism. Oryán was born in Hamedan, Iran, probably towards the end of the 4th century Hijra, 11th century of the Christian era, and flourished in the 5th century Hijra, making him a contemporary of Seljuk, ruler of Tokrul Baik. When Tokrul Baik went to Hamedan in the year 1447 Hijra, Baba Taher had already obtained a high degree of preeminence. The exact date of his death also of his birth and the episodes of his life is not historically ascertainable. Reza Quli Khan states in his literary anthology that Oryán was one of the most eminent mystics of his era. The opinion expressed by some writers that he was a contemporary with the Seljuk Sultans is erroneous. He was one of the earliest of the sheikhs and lived under the Daylamite dynasty. He flourished about 1410 and died before Unsuri, Ferdowsi, or any of their contemporaries. He is the author of rubayyat of great excellence in the ancient language, which are still extant. It is also said that there are extant treatises by him, and that scholars have composed commentaries upon them. So, a story about Baba Taher. He was about 40 years old, like yours truly. I am 41. And the college student still. He didn't know how to read and write. He used to cut wood for a living. And he went to school. He was older, and the other students made fun of him. And they played a prank on him. They said, if you want to learn how to read and write, you must come to school at midnight. And there's a water fountain there which is usually covered by ice. You have to break it and you have to get in the water and stay there. So this poor, sincere man, this good man, Baba Taher, did that. He went at midnight to the school, broke the ice of the fountain and sat there. And legend says, an angel appeared before him and said, because you wished so much, you will not only learn how to read and write, but you will also learn to read and write in Arabic, and you will be an erudite when you wake up. Next day, he knew how to read and write, both in Persian and Arabic, and he became a poet. You see, there's hope for all their students too. Don't make fun of us. And now, his rubayyat. My mother will read one in Farsi, then myself in English. بیایید.
اگر دردم یکی بودی چه بودی؟ اگر غم اندکی بودی چه بودی؟
عینک تو دوست داری در بیاری، من از ممکنه بهتر ببینی. بفهم.
به بالینم جبینی یا طبیبی، از این دو گر یکی بودی چه بودی؟
این بود؟
بله.
مرسی، متشکرم. Oh heart, if you and I could choose our woe and bliss, our friend and foe, our eyes, our yes and no, what woe could we endure? What bliss embrace? What yes and no accept? What friend, what foe? بفرمایید.
اگر دردم یکی بودی چه بودی؟ اگر غم اندکی بودی چه بودی؟ به بالینم حبیبم یا طبیبم، از این هر دو یکی بودی چه بودی؟
Mercy. If mysteries were one, what would that be? If little, what would be the agony? Bring to my side my doctor or my friend. If I could choose but one, which would I see? Yes.
مگر شیر و پلنگی ای دل ای دل؟
The person who wrote this book did it with handwriting, and he has really bad handwriting, so please excuse my mother.
مگر شیر و پلنگی ای دل ای دل، که دائم به جنگی ای دل ای دل، اگر دستم رسد خونت بریزم. ببینم تا چه رنگی ای دل ای دل، اگر دستم رسد خونت بریزم، بدونم تا چه رنگی ای dil ای dil.
Art thou a lion or a leopard, heart? What thou dost try to tear, that thou dost try to tear my soul apart? I'll forge a sword and shed thy blood and find what hue of red, what kind of beast thou art. And 3 more rubai. There you go. Be
بلایی دل خدایا، دل بلایی، گناه چشمان کرد خب نمیتونم بخونم. اگر چشمان نکردی دیده بانی، چی دانستی دلم خوبان کجایی؟
مرسی عزیزم. حالا من به انگلیسی میخونم. All that for which my poor heart yearns with cries were first in things, and then conceived in eyes. If eyes had failed to trace your beauteous face, my heart could not embrace your form with sighs.
ز دست دیده و دل هر دو فریاد، که هر چه دیده بیند دل کند یاد. بسازم خنجری نیشش ز پولاد، زنم بر دیده تا دل گردد آزاد.
قشنگه. خب. Ah, for my eyes and heart in agony, that heart should crave for all that eyes can see. I'll rise and forge a sword with edge of steel, and strike at eyes and set my lone heart free.
بود سوت دلان گرد همایی، سخن دارم گیریم غم وانماییم. تو را رو آوریم غمها بسنجیم، بر آن غمگین زیم وزمین تو آییم.
Merci. I would someday that those whose hearts were rent could gather and discuss their discontent, and bring a scale on which to weigh their grief, and find whose right is greatest to lament. This has been a reading of Baba Taher Oryán, a Persian mystical poet, one of my favorites. He's super sincere, he's super kind in his writings. Some people say that you must separate the poet from his works, but in his case it is impossible. His words are his soul, and he was a great dude. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, friends.